What if I told you that your destiny is already written in the stars? Not by an external God, not by fate, but by the very essence of your soul. That the path you are meant to walk is not one given to you by society, religion, or tradition, but one that has always existed within you, waiting to be uncovered. This is the core of Thelema, a philosophy so powerful, so liberating, and so dangerously misunderstood, that it has been both revered and condemned for over a century. But what really is Thelema? What is the true meaning behind the words, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law"? And how does it hold the key to unlocking the greatest truth of your existence? To understand Thelema, we must first step back into the life of the man who brought it to the world, Aleister Crowley, a name that sparks admiration in some and fear in others. A man called a prophet by his followers and a devil worshipper by his critics. But strip away the myths, and you'll find someone who was neither angel nor demon, but a seeker of the highest order. Crowley was a mystic, an occultist, and a poet. But above all, he was obsessed with one thing, truth. And in 1904, in a hotel room in Cairo, Egypt, he claimed to have received a text from a non-human intelligence, a text that would change the spiritual landscape of the modern world. This book, known as Liber AL vel Legis, or the Book of the Law, is the foundation of Thelema, and within its pages it declares the arrival of a new aeon, the aeon of Horus, a time when humanity would no longer be ruled by the gods of the past, by fear, by blind obedience, but would instead step into the light of its own divine nature. It was said that this book was dictated to Crowley by a being named Aiwass, a messenger of the gods. But whether Aiwass was an external entity or a voice from the depths of Crowley's own subconscious, the message remains the same. It is a call to spiritual revolution. The first words of the book set the tone for everything that follows. "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," a phrase that has been twisted, misunderstood, and feared. Many assume it means an endorsement of chaos, selfishness, or unrestricted indulgence. But this could not be further from the truth. Thelema is not about reckless desire. It is about alignment. True will is not the same as fleeting whims or personal pleasure. It is the deepest expression of your purpose, the path you were uniquely born to walk. Imagine, for a moment, that every star in the sky represents a soul. That just as stars move according to their natural course, so too does every being have a path that is uniquely theirs. This is what Thelema teaches. Every man and every woman is a star, each with their own orbit, their own purpose. And the greatest sin, if there is such a thing in Thelema, is not to follow your true will, to ignore it, and to live a life dictated by others. But how do you find this will? That is where discipline and practice come in. Thelema is not a passive belief system. It is a spiritual science, a path that requires action, study, and self-discovery. Crowley himself practiced ceremonial magic, not as a means to control reality, but as a tool to connect with his own divine essence. The rituals, the meditations, the invocations, they are not superstition, they are methods of uncovering the truth buried deep within the self. But there is another law in Thelema, one that completes the first. Love is the law, love under will. At first this may seem contradictory. If the universe is ruled by will, what place does love have? But this is where the true wisdom of Thelema reveals itself. Love, in this sense, is not just emotion. It is a force, an energy, a guiding principle. And just as every star moves in harmony with the cosmos, so too must will be aligned with love. When you follow your true will, you are not acting against others, but in harmony with existence itself. This is not a philosophy for the weak-hearted. It demands that you break free from the chains of conditioning, that you reject imposed morality, and that you look deeply into yourself without fear. Thelema does not give you answers. It demands that you find them. It does not offer comfort. It offers freedom. And with that freedom comes the ultimate responsibility, to know yourself, and to be yourself fully. But Thelema is not just a personal path. It speaks of something greater, a shift in human consciousness. The aeon of Horus is not a concept confined to one man's vision. It is an era that humanity is entering. The time of blind faith, of submission to external authority is ending. The time of self-awakening, of spiritual sovereignty has begun. This is why Thelema is feared, because it threatens the very foundations of control. It tells you that you are your own master, that no priest, no king, no system has the right to dictate your path. And that, more than anything, is a terrifying thought to those who seek power over others. But the path of Thelema is not about rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It is about mastery, of self, of will, of reality. It is about walking the path you were always meant to walk, without hesitation, without doubt. It is about claiming your place in the cosmos as a star, shining in the vastness of eternity unafraid, unbound, and utterly free. This is just the beginning. Because Thelema is more than just words on a page. It is a practice, a way of life, a path that can take you to the deepest truths of your existence. And if you are ready, if you are willing to cast off the illusions that have bound you, then you may just begin to uncover the greatest secret of all, that you were never meant to follow but to become. To become what? That, my friend, is for you to discover. Everything you've ever been taught about obedience, about submission, about following rules that were written by someone else. It was designed to keep you from realizing one fundamental truth, that you are a sovereign being, that within you lies a force as powerful as the stars themselves. And that force is your true will. But the question remains, how do you find it? How do you separate your true will from the conditioned desires that have been planted in your mind since birth? Thelema does not offer a single easy answer. It does not hand you a ready-made doctrine and tell you to accept it blindly. Instead, it gives you tools, a system of magic, meditation, and self-exploration that allows you to strip away illusion after illusion until only the raw, unfiltered truth remains. This is where the true practice of Thelema begins. Rituals are not empty gestures. They are psychological technologies designed to shift consciousness and bring you into direct contact with the deeper forces of existence. Crowley developed his own system of ceremonial magic, drawing from ancient traditions, from Kabbalah, from Egyptian mysticism, from alchemy, not to control the universe, but to align with it, to sharpen perception, to open the gateways of the mind, to remove all obstacles between you and the highest realization of yourself. And yet, magic alone is not enough, because Thelema is not about power for power's sake. It is about discipline. It is about mastery over the self. What good is it to declare yourself free if you are still a slave to your own impulses? If your will is dictated not by deep purpose but by fleeting cravings, that is not true will, that is distraction. And distraction is the great enemy of those who seek to awaken. But Thelema offers something more than just personal enlightenment. It offers a vision of the universe itself, a vision embodied in three divine forces, each revealing a different aspect of the path. Nuit, the infinite sky, the goddess of boundless love and possibility, whispering that you are not separate from the universe, you are a part of it, limitless, eternal. Hadit, the fire of individual experience, the secret flame within you, reminding you that divinity is not something outside of you but something you already are. And Rahur Kwit, the warrior, the force of transformation, shattering the old, clearing the path for the new, demanding that you rise into the fullness of your being without fear, without hesitation. These are not just gods. They are aspects of consciousness. They are keys. Nuit is the vast potential of all that can be. Hadit is the energy that moves through you, turning potential into reality. And Rahur Kwit is the power of change, the force that destroys illusion and clears the way for truth. Together they reveal a reality beyond conventional religion, beyond rigid morality. A reality in which you are not a subject kneeling before a god, but a creator, an active participant in the unfolding of existence itself. This is why Thelema cannot be fully understood through words alone. It must be lived. It must be experienced. It is a path, not a belief system. And walking this path means questioning everything. It means examining every thought, every impulse, every desire, and asking, is this truly mine? Or was it given to me by a world that seeks to control me? It means stripping away every illusion, every false identity, until only the core remains. But with this freedom comes a challenge, because once you recognize that no external force is guiding your life, once you understand that no God, no system, no fate is going to dictate your path, you must take full responsibility for who you are. There is no one to blame, there is no one to praise, there is only you, standing face to face with the infinite, deciding what to become. And this is the ultimate test, the moment where most people turn back. Because to walk this path is to abandon every excuse, every comfort, every false certainty. It is to stand naked before the vastness of existence and declare, I will shape my own destiny. I will align with my true will, no matter what it demands of me, no matter what I must leave behind. This is the meaning of initiation. This is why magic is practiced. Not to bend the world to your whims, but to transform yourself into something greater. The rituals, the meditations, the sigils, the invocations, these are not meant to give you power over others. They are meant to reveal your own power. They are meant to awaken the part of you that has been asleep for far too long. And once you awaken, everything changes. You begin to see the patterns, the invisible forces shaping reality. You begin to recognize that every choice, every action, every moment of your life has led you to this point. That everything you once saw as random was leading you here, to this understanding, to this moment of clarity. And when you reach that point, when you touch the essence of your own true will, you will know with absolute certainty that you were never meant to follow, that you were never meant to live according to rules dictated by others, that you were always meant to carve your own path, no matter how strange, no matter how different, no matter how terrifying it may seem to those who still sleep. Because this is the truth hidden within Liber AL vel Legis, the message that has been feared, misunderstood and suppressed, that you do not need permission to be yourself, that you do not need validation, that the power you seek has been within you from the very beginning. The only question is, will you claim it? That is the challenge Thelema presents to you, to step beyond the safety of belief and into the fire of knowing, to abandon the chains of imposed morality and take up the sword of your own truth, to burn away every false identity, every mask, every illusion, until only the unshakable core of your being remains. And that is why Thelema is not for everyone. Most people would rather stay in their cages, even if the door is open. They would rather cling to old gods, old systems, old rules, because freedom is terrifying. To be responsible for your own existence is the most difficult path of all. But if you are ready, if something inside of you has always known that you were meant for something greater, then you already understand the truth. You already feel the pull of your own will calling you forward, demanding to be known. And if that is the case, then there is only one thing left to do. Step forward, walk the path, discover who you truly are. Because Thelema is not just a philosophy, it is not just a set of beliefs, it is a call to action. And that call has been waiting for you all along. The greatest deception ever imposed upon humanity is the belief that we must look outside ourselves for meaning, for direction, for validation, that we must follow, obey, conform, that the answers we seek are held by gods in distant heavens or written in books dictated by ancient prophets. But what if that was never the truth? What if the only real law, the only real commandment, the only real scripture that ever mattered was already written into your very being? This is the radical message of Thelema, that no external power, no government, no religion, no self-proclaimed authority has the right to dictate your purpose, that your will is sacred, that your destiny is not something handed down from above, but something you were born to discover and create for yourself. And yet, despite its clarity, despite its power, Thelema is one of the most misunderstood spiritual philosophies in the world. It has been labeled dangerous, heretical, even diabolical, because it challenges the very foundation of control. The world has always been afraid of those who cannot be ruled. The world has always sought to silence those who choose to walk their own path. But what is truly dangerous? To live in blind submission, to accept a life dictated by forces outside yourself, or to claim what was always yours, to awaken, to rise, to step fully into the person you were meant to be. Because Thelema is not lawlessness. It is not chaos. It is not an excuse to indulge every passing desire. That is the mistake of those who do not understand. To say, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," is not an invitation to reckless selfishness. It is a commandment of the highest order, a call to responsibility, to discipline, to the mastery of the self. True will is not about doing whatever you want in the moment. It is about discovering the deepest purpose that drives your existence, the mission that only you can fulfill, the work that no one else can do. And once you know it, once you feel it, there is no choice but to follow it completely. Anything less is a betrayal of your own soul. But how do you know the difference between true will and fleeting desire? How do you know whether your actions are leading you toward your highest potential or pulling you deeper into illusion? This is where the real work begins. Because Thelema is not just a belief, it is a practice, a way of aligning your mind, your body and your spirit with the truth that has always been within you. And this is why magic is central to Thelema. Not the magic of superstition, not the illusion of cheap tricks, but the magic of transformation. The science of shifting consciousness, of breaking down false barriers, of uncovering what is hidden. Every ritual, every symbol, every act of invocation or meditation is designed to refine the soul, to cut away distraction, to bring you face to face with the reality of who and what you truly are. The pentagram, the sigils, the sacred names. All of it is a language, a method of tuning the mind to frequencies it has long forgotten how to hear, a way of stripping away the noise of the world and attuning to the deeper currents of will that move through existence itself. And this is why Thelemites engage in ritual, not because they seek power over others, but because they seek power over themselves. Because they understand that to follow true will is to step onto a path of relentless self-discovery, a path that demands absolute honesty, absolute courage, absolute commitment. And yet, Thelema is not a lonely road. It is not isolation. Because those who walk this path recognize something that the world has long sought to obscure. That every man and every woman is a star. That just as the stars in the sky each have their own orbit, their own place, their own motion, so too does every being have their own true will. And when each star follows its course, the cosmos moves in perfect harmony. Thelema is not a philosophy of conflict. It is a philosophy of alignment. It is about discovering who you are, so that you can move through the universe as you were meant to, without resistance, without force, without struggle. When you are in alignment with your true will, the world does not push back against you, it moves with you. And this is why love is the law, love under will. Because love, in its highest form, is not possession, not control, not attachment. It is the recognition of the divine in all things. It is the knowing that every soul, every force, every movement of existence is part of a great and infinite symphony. To love under will means to love with purpose, to love without the chains of fear or manipulation. It is to understand that the highest form of love is not one that binds, but one that liberates. One that allows every being to shine in its own perfect, unrepeatable way. And yet, to embrace Thelema fully is to face a great paradox. Because the moment you recognize that you are free, the moment you realize that no power outside of you can dictate your fate, you also realize that there is no one else to blame. No external force is responsible for your failures, your struggles, your doubts. The universe does not owe you success. It does not promise ease, comfort, or safety. It only promises you this, that if you seek, you will find. That if you knock, the door will open. That if you align with your will, you will know a power greater than anything this world has ever shown you. And so the question remains, will you answer the call? Will you take the step that so many fear to take? Because the truth is, most will not. Most will turn away, afraid of what it means to truly be free, afraid of the weight of their own divinity. But if you have listened this far, if something within you stirs at these words, then you already know. You already feel it. The spark of something ancient, something vast, something that has been waiting for you to awaken. Because Thelema is not just an idea, it is a fire, a force that, once ignited, can never be extinguished, a truth that, once seen, can never be unseen. You were never meant to be bound. You were never meant to be small. You were meant to rise, to claim your place in the infinite, to become who you were always destined to be. And that is why the words remain, echoing through time, through space, through the fabric of reality itself. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. The only question left is, will you have the courage to live by them? The moment you decide to step into your true will, the moment you choose to live by the law of Thelema, something shifts. The illusions that once held you fade. The voices of doubt, the expectations of society, the fear of judgment, they become nothing more than echoes of a past self that no longer exists. Because to follow your will is to shed everything that is not truly you. It is to burn away every false identity, every imposed belief, every borrowed desire, until all that remains is the unshakable core of who you are. But this is where most hesitate. This is where the mind fights back. Because stepping into true will means stepping into the unknown. It means surrendering every excuse, every safety net, every comforting lie. It means no longer looking to others for answers, no longer seeking permission to exist, no longer bending to the will of those who do not walk your path. And that is terrifying. Because when you realize you are truly free, you also realize that there is no one left to blame, no one left to hold responsible for your choices. No one left to save you from yourself, and that is why so many would rather remain in chains. It is easier to be told what to do, easier to follow the rules, easier to live in a world where the path is already laid out for you, where success is defined by others, where morality is dictated by books written centuries ago. Because when you are told what to believe, what to value, what to fear, you never have to question. You never have to take responsibility. You never have to face the weight of your own divinity. But you are not here to follow. You are not here to obey. You are here to become. You are here to claim what has always been yours. And the path of Thelema is not about waiting for fate to reveal itself. It is about forging your own destiny, with fire, with will, with the relentless pursuit of truth. That is why ritual exists. That is why magic is practiced. Not to call upon spirits for favors, not to manipulate reality for selfish gain, but to refine the soul, to sharpen the mind, to align every thought, every action, every breath with the current of true will. Every symbol, every incantation, every sacred gesture is a key, unlocking the doors of perception, revealing the hidden forces that shape existence. Because to understand Thelema is to understand that the world is not what it seems. The physical realm, the laws of nature, the limitations we accept without question, these are only surface-level reflections of a much deeper reality. A reality where consciousness is the architect of experience, where will is the guiding force behind all creation, where the difference between those who shape reality and those who are shaped by it is nothing more than awareness. And that is the great secret. That is the knowledge feared by those who seek control. Because a world where people know their own power is a world where no one can be ruled. A world where every man and every woman is a star is a world where no king, no priest, no system of authority can dictate the course of another's life. And so for centuries this knowledge has been hidden, twisted, demonized. They tell you that magic is evil, that questioning is dangerous, that to claim sovereignty over your own soul is arrogance, heresy, rebellion. But ask yourself, who benefits from your ignorance? Who profits from your submission? Who thrives in a world where you doubt your own power? Because the moment you awaken, the moment you step into your true will, the moment you stop seeking outside yourself for the answers you already hold, you become untouchable. The fear that once ruled you disappears. The limitations that once bound you shatter. the forces that once dictated your life lose their grip entirely. Because when you know who you are, truly know, nothing can shake you, nothing can pull you away from your path, nothing can stop you from becoming what you were always meant to be. And this is why Thelema is not just a philosophy, it is not just a set of ideas, it is a path, a process of transformation so profound that it rewrites the very fabric of your being. It is not an easy path. It will strip you of everything false. It will demand sacrifice. It will force you to confront the darkest parts of yourself, the fears you have buried, the lies you have told yourself. It will leave you with nothing but the raw, unfiltered truth, and that is where the real power begins. Because to live by true will is to step beyond the limits of the self you once knew. It is to see with new eyes, to move with new purpose, to exist in a state of absolute alignment with the forces that govern creation itself. It is to no longer fight against the flow of the universe, but to move with it, as effortlessly as the stars in their courses. And when you do that, when you fully surrender to the current of your own destiny, life ceases to be a struggle. It ceases to be a question of success or failure. It ceases to be dictated by fear, by doubt, by the need for approval. Because you will know, you will feel it in every fiber of your being, that you are exactly where you are meant to be. That every moment, every choice, every action is an extension of your will, a reflection of the infinite force moving through you. And when you reach that point, where nothing remains but the certainty of your own purpose, you will understand what the ancient mystics, the magicians, the prophets have always known, that heaven and hell were never places outside of you, that the divine was never separate, that the gods, the angels, the demons were always just reflections of the self, that you were never meant to worship, never meant to kneel, never meant to seek salvation from something beyond yourself. Because you are the creator, you are the destroyer, you are the light and the darkness, you are the star, burning in the vastness of eternity, untamed, unbroken, and utterly free. And that is why the law of Thelema will always stand whether the world accepts it or not. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, because nothing else is real, nothing else matters, nothing else has ever mattered. The only question that remains, the only question that has ever mattered, is whether you will claim what has always been yours, whether you will rise or whether you will remain asleep, whether you will take the step that so few dare to take. Because this path is not for those who wait, it is not for those who hesitate, it is not for those who seek comfort in the familiar, it is for those who are ready to burn away everything they were told to be and step fully into everything they truly are. And so the choice is yours. It has always been yours. The call of Thelema is not a whisper, it is a fire, a force that will not wait for you to be ready. The time is now, it has always been now. Step forward, or turn back, rise, or remain in the shadows. But know this, once you have seen the truth, once you have felt the spark of your own divinity, you can never unsee it. You can never return to what you were, and deep down you already know that. The only question left is, what will you do with that knowing? There will come a moment when you stand at the threshold between who you were told to be and who you truly are. A moment where the choice is laid bare before you, where the illusions of the world dissolve, and you realize that the only chains that have ever bound you were the ones you accepted. That moment is now. That is the power of Thelema. It is not a distant philosophy. It is not a theory to be debated in books or whispered in secret halls. It is a force, alive, breathing, moving through you in this very moment, waiting for you to step into it fully. But stepping into it means letting go of everything you were taught to believe about good and evil, about success and failure, about what is possible and what is not. Letting go of the fear that has kept you small, the guilt that has held you back, the doubt that has convinced you to settle for less than what you were meant to be. Because to follow true will is to walk a path that no one else can walk for you. There is no map, no guide, no external authority to tell you what is right. There is only the fire inside you, the call that has been there since the beginning, waiting to be answered. And this is what separates those who merely speak of freedom from those who truly claim it. Because Thelema is not about empty words. It is about action. It is about the willingness to stand alone if necessary, to carve your own path, even when the world tells you to follow, to choose sovereignty over comfort, wisdom over obedience, truth over illusion. And that is why so few ever take the step, because the moment you embrace Thelema, there is no turning back. You cannot pretend to be blind once your eyes have been opened. You cannot return to the cage once you have tasted the sky. But what is on the other side of that leap? What awaits those who have the courage to claim their will? A life of meaning, a life of purpose, a life in which every moment is lived fully, completely, without regret, without hesitation, a life in which love is not bound by fear, where every action is an expression of the highest truth, a life in which you no longer wander aimlessly, hoping for signs, waiting for permission, a life in which you walk with certainty, with clarity, with the knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And this is why Thelema is not just a philosophy, it is a key to unlocking the highest potential within you, a key to stepping beyond limitation, beyond hesitation, beyond the illusions of control that have held humanity captive for so long, a key that only you can turn, only you can use, because only you can know your true will. And the moment you take that key and open the door, the moment you declare not to the world but to yourself, that you will no longer live in submission to anything other than your own highest purpose, you will feel it, the shift, the power, the knowing. Because you were never meant to be ordinary, you were never meant to live a life dictated by others, you were never meant to be bound by fear, by doubt, by the expectations of a world that has forgotten its own power. You were meant to be free, you were meant to shine, you were meant to rise, to take your place among the stars, to move in harmony with the great cosmic order, not as a follower, not as a servant, but as a being of will, of love, of infinite potential. And so the core remains, echoing through time, through space, through every hidden corner of the soul that has longed for something more. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. The question is not whether these words are true. The question is whether you have the courage to live by them, whether you will take the step, whether you will claim the freedom that has always been yours. Because in the end there is no other path, no other law, no other truth. There is only the one you were born to walk, the one you have always known, deep within, the one that is waiting for you right now.